Hi everyone, Lisa Gornall here. I was in another group the last couple of days and there's been so many questions about spirits and paranormal activity and all sorts of things. And so I thought instead of answering all these messages I was getting in my inbox, that maybe it would be best just to go live on here. So as you join me today, I want you to say hi. Hey Renee. Hey Kim. Hey. So as you join me, I want you just to put up whatever questions you have out. And there's a delay with the live. So as I get the questions, I will answer them. But this is really a space for everybody to kind of learn how to clear your space from spirits, how to release spirits that you're still feeling connected to, or more likely that we're still holding on to. And it's really important that everybody has a space to get their questions answered. So let's just begin with something that I always talk about whenever I'm doing any type of energy work. This is what we need to do because we're going to be dealing with this paranormal realm, is white light. White light is God, it's love, universe, source. It's non-denominational. It's whatever you would like to call it. And whenever you're doing anything with paranormal, you always want to bring in the white light, because when you're like, oh, I'm going to connect with this spirit, or I'm going to connect with this, what happens is energetically you're opening yourself up and all these energies see you, and some are going to try to sneak in that aren't necessarily positive. So by bringing in that white light and creating a safe space, you're saying, I am safe, I am whole, only this white light is going to be what's connecting with me, and anything of light and love is what I'm going to be working with. So you're still going to be able to see negativity and darkness and things like that, but we're not bringing it into your energy field. We're going to keep it all at bay. So I see how much people have joined, so thanks for joining everyone. And then like I said, just feel free to put your questions in there and I'll answer them as we go. So let's begin by everybody actually bringing in the white light before we get started. So, you know, if you're sitting or laying down, go ahead and close your eyes. And then we're going to bring the white light in from the top of your head. It's like you're standing in a beam of white light. So you can be in a forest, you can stand underneath a light, you can, you know, imagine you're standing underneath the sun, and you're going to bring that white light in from the top of your head, down to your neck, down to your chest, down to your stomach. Keep it strong. I'm feeling it fade on everybody. Keep it strong. Down to your knees, into your feet, and into the earth. I am peace. I am free. All is well. All is well. There's a lot of tension in the hip area, so I want you to go ahead and release that really quickly before we begin, because negativity attracts negativity, so we want to be in a good space. So go ahead and release any tension that's in that hip area. You might feel it as like your hips might feel stiff or tight, or you might just energetically, when you're bringing the white light, it got stuck in that area. So just kind of pull any energy out that's hanging out in that hip area and let it go. And we're going to fill that just with a soft pink light really quick. So bring that soft pink light from behind you all the way through, all the way to the front. Okay. So I want you to now just imagine your house, and I want you to imagine bringing in that white light. We're going to clear your house first, create a safe space in your house. I want you to bring the white light in from the top of your house, like that white light beam, all the way through your whole living space, all the way down into the earth. And then if you're on and you're feeling like there's something in your house, I want you to imagine bringing that white light back up from the earth, all the way up through your whole house and up to the top. You can kind of shake your hands and just kind of let that energy go as you're bringing it up and through your space. My house is filled with peace and love. Only light and love remains. All is well. All is well. And then if you want to communicate with any people that have crossed over, all you have to do is just take a moment. You're still in the white light, your space is in white light, and go ahead and just imagine that person coming to you. And like that, they're there. It's that easy. You just have to allow them to come. And so once they're there, let them give you whatever message, or feel them, or you might see a color. Just let them be there and let them tell you whatever they want to tell you. Your head is going to want to say, I'm not hearing this conversation, I'm not feeling this, but it is. So I'm just going to give you a space for a moment to just talk with whoever has crossed over that you would like to talk with. And you can just say, I love you, I miss you, thanks for coming by. And then you can let them go back. So it's that easy to talk with people that have crossed over. So people are always looking for signs or symbols, and you can definitely do that. You can say, oh, every time I find a penny, I'm seeing somebody, or every time I see a feather, I'm seeing somebody. You can do that, but with spirits, everything is energy, right? And we live millions of lives all at once, and so they're bouncing in and out to come in and do those things. And so the best thing that you can do is just bring in the white light and just talk with them. It truly is that easy. So I'm going to talk about how to clear your house of a spirit and how to clear your house of a negative energy too, because that was a huge conversation thread in the group that I was in the last couple of days. And again, if you have any questions or anything that you want me to specifically help you with, feel free to post it into this chat and I'll answer it while you're here live. So if you have a spirit or negative energy in the house, your children and your pets are most likely going to be the ones that are going to notice it because they're more open to it than adults. Adults are often, you know, I don't see it because I can't touch it, I can't feel it, so therefore it's not there. So if you have a pet that's staring at a corner in your house, or if you have a child who keeps saying that they're seeing something, regardless of whether or not you're seeing it, that's your sign. That's how you know that you have something in that space. So whenever somebody's saying that, whether you see it or not, just go with caution and trust them. And what you're going to do is you're going to bring in the white light like we did, and you're going to clear the space. So if you're seeing a spirit or a spirit's coming to your space, usually they have a message and something that they're trying to tell you. So in order to hear and communicate with the spirit, you just kind of do what we did earlier, where you bring in the white light, you imagine the spirit, and you just kind of give a space to connect and feel with them. I've been doing this my whole entire life, so it's very easy for me to do. But if you're new to this, you just got to make yourself have a space. Just kind of sit with it. You might feel them. You might see part of them. Sometimes you see them like in a younger version of themselves. They don't usually come and visit you how they were right as they were passing or before they passed. Usually they show up in a younger version of themselves for you to see. So whatever it is that you're seeing, you have to just trust it, because your mind doesn't make those things up. Your mind likes to categorize things, right? It likes to make lists. It's very analytical. Your mind doesn't like to say crazy stories. It can run on fear and things like that, but when it comes to talking with spirits, it's not able to make up those stories. So you've got to learn to trust your intuition and trust that you're talking to the person. If there's a spirit in your house, let's say that you've picked up, which some of the people in the group that I was in did, they just kind of picked up spirits along the way. That happens. If you're open, right? Like when I first really started doing this, I went outside one day and I was like, okay, I'm gonna help whoever needs help. Just come and show up and I'm gonna help you. And what happened was all these things came in. All these things. Not all of them were like good spirits either, like negative energies and all these things. So you want to be very clear when you're doing the work, so that way you just don't call in all kinds of stuff. But when you're not paying attention, you're like, oh, sure, I can help this or whatever, because we are energy, and subconsciously we can pick up on energy or other things or what have you, and we can allow it to come in. And then we don't even know that we had it come in. So somebody messaged me that somebody had a little, like they saw a little boy in somebody's house. I don't know if they're on this call or not. There's a lot of people on, so I don't know who's all here. But they had a little boy that was following them. And so this is for them. So when you pick up a spirit randomly, what you have to do is you have to bring in the white light. You can ask the spirit, just like we talked about, like, why are you here? How can I help you, right? If you want to do that. And then you can put it into the white light. So I can see spirits everywhere I go. So I don't necessarily have these conversations because all day long I'd be talking to the spirit world and not to the people around me. So if a spirit approaches me and it wants to go into the white light, I am more than happy to do that. But I'm not going to carry messages and try to find people and do all that stuff. I could do that all day long. That's really not my purpose. So when you have a spirit that's family or friend, or just one that you just pick up as a stray because you were just walking around, you just picked one up, what you do is you put it into the white light. So always you put yourself first in the white light, And even if you don't know if you're doing it right, or if you don't feel like you're bringing it all the way through, all you got to do is just imagine that you're doing it, and 99.9% of the time you've done it. So trust that you've done it, and then you imagine the spirit, and you let the spirit go up into the light. So let's talk for a second about how spirits get stuck here. So spirits get stuck because when they're crossing over, we pull on them. So I don't want you to feel bad if you're on this and you've done that, but that was my very first experience with the spirit as a child. A woman had crossed over, and she didn't cross all the way over. She got stuck here because her family didn't want her to leave. And so she got attached to this dresser that my grandmother got me at some store, like some secondhand store or whatever. And so the dresser came in the house, and the spirit was scaring the cat and doing all this stuff to the cat, and the cat would like attack us, and the cat would go crazy. And so the woman got stuck here, and everybody else had crossed over now. But that spirit was here, and she didn't see the light anymore. So she couldn't go. And you can say, how can a spirit not see the light? But we all are made of light and love, right? We all have that white light, but most of us don't see it. So it's the same for a spirit. They get stuck here in this realm. And all this spirit had left when they had crossed over was this dresser. So she was attached to this dresser. And so she didn't want to be here anymore. And so she hated cats, and she would torment my cat, and then my cat would go and torment me and my sisters, right? So when someone crosses over, you can still communicate with them. You can still see them, but you can no longer pull on them, because what you do is you make them get stuck here if they choose to stay here for you. So it's really important that you realize when someone crosses over, we cross over at our time. If it wasn't our time, we would still be here. And life is so much bigger than this one life experience. So whenever someone in my life crosses over, I don't look at, go back to like the good days. Think about it as like a relationship with somebody that you dated and it ended. And you can glorify those good parts of the relationship, right? Like back when things were great and everything was well. People do this all the time when people are crossing over, with animals too. And we focus on the good part, right? And we don't realize that they weren't healthy, or they weren't in a good space, or something wasn't good for them anymore, and it was time for them to go. We focus for some reason on that good part, but their body was no longer in that state anymore. Does that make sense? And so we need to realize that they're going through their experience, whether we're accepting of it or not. And the best thing that we can do for anybody when they're crossing over is to put them in the white light and to listen to them. And when people are crossing over and they start telling you, I'm seeing a white light, or they're seeing other relatives that have gone before them, or friends, or they're seeing things differently, I hear and see this all the time. It's really important that you let them say whatever they're seeing, because that is their reality. And people will say, oh, you're not seeing that. There's no light in here. Grandpa's not here. Your cat's not here. I would like to tell you that they are. When we are crossing over and we're making that transition, and we have time, right, with an illness or something that's going to give us that time to have that, we absolutely do have those experiences, and we do see those things. So it's not about, I can't see it, so it's not there. That's just like a parent telling a child, there's no spirit there, there's no energy there, when there is. If you can't see it, it doesn't mean that it's not there. And so as those spirits are crossing over, your job is to support them and make sure that they're comfortable and that they're not in pain. Although the closer they get to death, the less pain that they feel, because they're more focused on the spirit world. And your job is to let them go. And so many times people will wait for somebody to cross over, and they don't cross over until you leave, to go to the bathroom, or to take a phone call, or to go get food. It's almost like as soon as you're gone. Because think about it, not everybody wants to pass in front of other people. So that's a whole spiritual preference that people can do based upon their own needs. Sometimes you get to watch somebody take their last breath, and sometimes you don't. But whatever's happening in that process, I just ask that you let them go. And then that leaves less spirits that are getting trapped here for people like me to release all the time. Okay? So there's that. When there is a sudden death, That's a different experience. I had a family member who died very suddenly. It was the 4th of July, and I kept seeing him all day. I was a child, and I didn't know that he had passed, but I kept seeing him. And he was confused because it happened so suddenly. So he was kind of lingering, and then he was like saying goodbye to everybody and trying to make peace. And I was young, so I was totally okay with it. You know, I didn't know I was young. And it was devastating to the whole rest of my family. And some of them may even end up joining in here, and they'll know exactly who I'm talking about. But his death was sudden, so it wasn't that everybody had time to prepare for it. So that's a different experience. So usually when the death is sudden, the spirit often crosses over right away, unless the spirit is very confused, and then they try to stay and they try to figure it out. And sometimes if there's like a murder or something like that, they will try to stay and they will try to figure out how to help get whoever did it or whatever. It can get very complicated. But again, the best thing that you can do for anybody that crosses over is for you to encourage them to go into the light. It's like the most important thing that you can do, because they can still come back and visit you as much as they want. And then it's a different energetic experience than if they don't go into the light. It makes it harder for them to find the light later and go into it. So does that make sense? So there's some stuff on spirits for you. Now I want to talk about negative energies. Negative energies are things that we pick up because we're not feeling okay with whatever's happening in our life. And again, feel free to ask any questions and I'll answer them. So negative energies aren't real. They're an illusion, right? Because we are light and love, everything is light and love, but negativity is the absence of light and love, so it's not real. So that's why it disappears into the white light. So whenever you see a negative energy and you take it on, then you have to clear it to let it go. And I see this all the time, all day long in my sessions. Almost every single person out there has letting go to do of negative energies that they pick up. It's just what we're taught in this society, right? You get scared, you're worried, you're fearing of something, and before you know it, it's kind of like what I said earlier when I would go outside and be like, okay, I'm going to help where I'm supposed to help, and all this stuff came in. It's the same idea. So if you are afraid, if you are worried, if you are scared, the most important thing you can do, again, is put yourself in the white light, because when you are scared and you're sending off that negative energy, you're going to allow negative energy to come back into your field. It's what you're putting out is what you're attracting back in. It's so powerful. It's a hard concept to grasp, but it's so true. Whatever you're putting out is coming right back to you. So if you're in a place of fear, you're sending out this signal for negative energies and stuff to come to you. So when a negative energy attaches to you, they usually wrap around a chakra center, which is one of your energy fields. So most people talk about 7. I can actually see 11, but they will plug into an energy field, and negative energies need you. They're not like spirits. Spirits don't need you per se, right? Like you can go walking around and see all these Native Americans and stuff that have been here for thousands of years, and they're going to continue to be there for thousands of years. You put them in the white light, they're like, I don't want to go, and you're like, okay, great. Negative energies need you. They need your energy, and they feed on negativity. So if you're drinking a lot of alcohol or doing drugs or anything like that, the more you do that, the more you bring them in. It's like a breeding ground for them. And so people always, ask me why I don't drink. That's one of the reasons why I don't drink, is because, well, 1, I'm very sensitive and it messes me up. But 2 is because, if you go to a bar, bars are the worst places to go to see. I mean, if you want to practice, they're a great place to go. But for somebody like me to go into a bar and just watch all the spirits, one, that gets stuck there, and then all the negative energies around people and in people. And the more that you drink and do the drugs, the more that your spirit is kind of like, oh, I don't need to spend so much time in this experience. I'm going to pop into another life. And in the meantime, you're just allowing more and more negativity to come in, because what you're putting out attracts. So these negative energies will attach around a chakra center, and they kind of usually wrap around and burrow in, and they try to make you think that you need them, right? Like you needed help with something, you didn't have confidence, you didn't think you could do something, you needed help doing something. And they kind of swoop in to save the day, and what they're really doing is holding you energetically back, because you're being of light and love. Again, they need you, you don't need them. So negative energies can attach to like things in your house and land and things like that. There's, you know, when you come home from work, if you're stressed and you're, you know, if you're going up your stairs and you dump energy here and you keep going up your stairs and you dump energy here and you dump all this energy all around your house, it builds and builds and builds over time. And then as other family members do it too, it just intensifies. So they can also be there too. Sometimes they'll just, you know, jump off somebody else and come to you or what have you. But negative energies, like I said, are different than spirits in that they are not light and love, and they will disappear. So people are texting me. So what you want to do with a negative energy is the same as bringing in the white light, but now you have to have a different dialogue with it. You have to say, I no longer need your help. It is time for you to go. And you can unwrap it, release it, and pull it out of your body. But then you also have to fill that space with positive energy, because that negativity has had a space in you and it's going to want to come back. So usually whenever you release something like that, it's going to take about 3 days for it to really wean off and truly go away, because it keeps looking for a weak point to come back in. So when you first start trying to release a negative energy, you're going to kind of, you might even be scared. And then as you do it more and more, you're going to realize, oh, they're not real. I didn't need this. You don't need this, right? Let it go. So practice makes perfect. And ideally, when you're not in a good space, you catch yourself right away. You bring in the white light, do what you need to do to balance, so that way you're not attracting these things there. We can talk about aliens too. It's not my favorite topic. I don't like to deal with them, but I'll mention them briefly because somebody in that group, if she is watching, her child's having night terrors, and night terrors are usually an alien intervention. There are people that channel aliens. Even just talking about this, I'm putting white light around us and everybody who's going to watch this video in the future, because aliens just really like to play with your energy. It's just what they do. They like to just come in and manipulate things. They're not like us, but they're a different energy, and they're a little bit more intense and more strong than negative energies. So if you have a child or know somebody who has a child that's having night terrors, I can almost guarantee you that they are seeing them. And I had a family member that went through this as well, and I would help him go through it. And when he'd go to his mom's house, it would intensify, and I'd have to help him clear it again. And one of my neighbors, I think, is on here, my old neighbors, and his daughter and my stepson were seeing one night at the same time. So those are different. Those are strong. For anybody that's dealing with that, it's just repetition, being very strong, really pushing that out and away. The younger you can break that, the earlier, the older they are, and the longer it's been happening. It just takes more time. They're a little bit more stubborn of an energy to deal with. And so you would just have your child bring in the white light, teach them the white light, and when the event is happening, when they're having that night terror, you're going to bring that white light through them all the way down into the earth, and you're going to take control, and you're going to start saying, even if you can't see it, you are not welcome here. This is a safe place. You're not allowed in my child's energy. You know, anything along that nature and that line, you just got to be really strong and really brave and kind of really push that out there. So that's for energy clearings when your child's having night terrors. And it takes a few times for that to really work. And even when my stepson would do it, he wouldn't remember, right? With night terrors, they don't remember. They wake up the next day and they don't remember. But he would say what I was telling him to say. He would say, I am safe, go away, you can't come here. So even though he couldn't remember it when he woke up, when the interaction was happening, it was triggering in his mind and he was remembering. So we did eventually break away from all that, and that was great, but it took some time. What else should we talk about? What are the other topics you guys want to hear about? Those were the 3 big ones I wanted to talk about. We talked about creating a safe space. We talked about spirit clearing. We talked about clearing your house. That was the first thing we did. And then for those of you that have my books, I have them in the background behind me. The spirit one, like talking with the spirit, is in the first book, In Light and Love. So if you have this one, it's in here. And then there's space clearing in this one, in the second book, Energy Balance. My camera's all off on here. So does anybody have any questions? Any spirits that they want to see, or anybody having any experiences that they want me to help them with while I'm on here with you, I'm happy to do so. I prefer to do it live than get all the messages. So if you're online right now, I would love for you to just ask me now. I think the biggest thing I want to tell you with all of this is to not be afraid. When I was a kid and I was becoming aware of all of it, I was afraid, and that just attracted in more negativity. And so the most important thing to do is to realize that we are all light and love. And anything that's not light and love isn't real. And it literally disintegrates when you put in the light. Like, it breaks up in like little pieces. I don't know how many of you remember the movie Ghost, but the little grayish things that would like move around, that's kind of how negative energy is. It's kind of like a sneaky snake. It kind of moves like that, and it burrows and it hides, and it does that. So it's nothing to be afraid of, because when you're afraid of it, then you attract it to you. So it's really important to just white light, white light, white light. I'm always asking everybody that I'm working with, how often are you doing the white light? How are you doing bringing in the white light? It's, if you take nothing else from today's call, it's the most important thing that you can do. When you try to build a wall or a boundary to protect yourself from everything that's happening around you, it doesn't work. And the reason that it doesn't work is because that takes an energy field to build, and you don't need that. What you have to do is just know that you are love, you are light, you are safe. And when you focus on that, you don't need a wall, because the walls don't work. I've had clients come to me and they've had castles with these intense moats built around them, and they were still so worried and stressed and blah, 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 right? So that doesn't work. But if you bring in the white light and you know that you are loved, you know that you are safe, you know that you are whole, all this other stuff, it doesn't matter. I clear energy all day long, and if it's not of light and love, it disappears. It's just like, it just disappears. So don't be afraid of it. That's my biggest tip to you. And nobody has any questions? Nobody at all? I know you guys all have questions. I like all the hearts. Oh, I saw a sad face. Why is there a sad face? So, the holidays are a time where a lot of people cross over. A lot of people don't want to deal with all the family stuff. I've had lots of people cross over during the holiday season, and the mortuaries will tell you that this is their busy season. Things get crazy in families this time of year. All those family patterns and beliefs and all those things come up. And so it's really important that you're always in a good place with the people around you. So that way, when something does happen and you go back to that last moment that you had with them, it's a good one. And let's say that you have a last moment with somebody and it's not a good one, then you need to do what we were talking about earlier, where you bring in the white light and you imagine the person and you let them come, and you can have a conversation with them and they will talk back with you to make peace with it. Because we're all energy. We're not these physical, bones and skin and all that stuff. We are beings of energy, and we can all communicate with each other. So just because somebody's crossed over doesn't mean that you can't speak with them anymore. And I mean, you can even go back if you have, memories from childhood, or people that you dated back in high school or in college or junior high or whenever you were dating. You can go back and release those relationships as well. So that way they don't keep coming back, because the way that this all works, this whole karma thing, whatever we don't heal with each other, we keep recreating in other relationships until we heal it. So if you can heal something with somebody now, it's much better than continuing to carry it on. And this is totally off topic. This must be for somebody. Somebody must need to hear this. When we make peace with a relationship here, it makes peace with it across lifetimes, and it shifts and changes things. So it's so important to not hold on to things and to not carry grudges, but to learn from those experiences and release that energy. Because when we hold on to the energy of the past, we create disease, right? And I see it all the time. And if any of my clients pop in and they see this, they can attest to that. So It's really important that when whatever's happening, you're aware of it. You're aware of what you're letting into your energy field, and you're deciding if this is even something that you want to have in your energy field or if it's not. I spend a lot of time saying, no, thank you, no, thank you, no, thank you. I'm not going to take this on, right? And the more that you're in a better space, the less that you're going to take that on. And if you can really practice that, it just started pouring outside in San Diego. It's very exciting here. You can hear it raining. My dog's hiding now underneath my feet. It just makes a whole world of difference. So whatever you can heal with whoever you can heal helps shift karmic vibrations. You cannot force somebody to accept your apology or anything like that. That is all up to the person. But there's a gazillion quotes out there on when you allow somebody else that forgiveness, you free yourself. And it's so true. I can't tell you how many times a week I say, okay, you're chained to this person, you're chained to this person, you have this connection. You have to let them go so that way you can be free. So there's that too. So that connects to all of this. All right, does anybody have any questions before I go? I feel like I've been on here for a long time and it's getting late for some people. For some people, it's 12:30. So any questions before I go? And then if you're watching this later recorded, you are more than welcome to drop comments below and I will get back to you. So just remember, the most important thing from the video today is to bring in that white light. I am love, I am light, I am safe, I am whole. And anytime that those fears or negativity or anything else comes in, I want you to see it coming a mile away and decide, do I even want to bring this into my energy field? And any hurt or grudges or anything that you're holding on to, the time is now. Let that stuff go, especially while we're in this Mercury retrograde. We just finished a Venus retrograde. It is a great time to heal all those relationships. And even if you can't talk to that person, you can do that exercise that we talked about in the beginning where you just imagine that you're seeing them. Of course, you've done the white light. You imagine that you're seeing them and you just say what you need to say, give space, let them talk back or whatever. And here's another thing I want to say before I go. When spirits cross over and they come back and they talk with us and we have had a bad experience with them, or we're not in a good place with them, or there was a rift or something before they crossed over, when they come and they visit you, they're light and love. They aren't angry and bitter and mad at you. They're not trying to hurt you in any way. Anybody who's crossed over, well, I should say had a near-death experience because they didn't completely cross over, will tell you that when they do, it's just this amazing, peaceful place. It's just all light and love and peaceful and calm. So when spirits are coming to see you, that's the energy that they're bringing to you. So anything else, like, so if somebody comes to visit you, you're like, oh, it's this person. They don't have that. They're just, everything's groovy, everything's light and love, right? So it's really important that if you are seeing spirits or you do want to communicate with somebody or anything, that most of these things that we get angry, mad, and upset with in this life, we don't take with us on our deathbed. When we're flashing through all of our experiences, that's going to be all the good things. We don't on our deathbed go through and pull up all these miserable experiences. So why do we carry them while we're here living, right? So let's stop doing that. And so I did say we don't take it with us, but we actually do. So whatever energy we haven't healed from this life will transplant into other lives. And that's where the past life healing that I do all the time comes in, because things come up from other experiences, because you will heal things when you're ready. So my purpose in a lot of my interactions is, what can you heal today so that way you're not dealing with it later, right? Because it always catches up. That's how karma works. It's always in process. So being in the holiday season, and everybody on here has had people that have crossed over, it's really important to just think light and love and send them light and love. And any negativity or bad feelings or anything that you had with that person, let it go. let it go. Free yourself, free them. It's all good. We don't need to do that anymore. And that goes back to, anybody that hurt you on the playground as a kid or wherever. We don't need to hold on to that stuff anymore. So let's let it go. My poor puppy. She was going to get a walk when I was done with this, and it's pouring rain. She's not going to go outside. She's not happy. She's right there. So, all right. Hey, Melanie. Hey, Corey. Hey, Jenny. I'm just seeing who's on here now. So, anything else before I go? Any thoughts, questions, burning desires that you want to know about anything paranormal? I know I keep asking the question and then I read somebody's energy and I go off on a tangent, but I'm feeling good. It's a long video. Most people aren't going to watch all of it. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for being live with me. I'm so grateful that you were all here. I hope that I answered all your questions. And like I said, some of the exercises are in the books. If you don't have the book and you need an excerpt, just let me know. And I wish you all a beautiful evening. Do not think about all this as you're going to bed tonight. As you're going to bed tonight, just bring in the white light. I am love, I am peace, I am safe, I am whole. And this will be my last parting thought to you. See, I told you I'd have another one. In the dark, we see darkness. And in the light, we see light. So if you don't know if you have negative energy or things around you, you will see it at night in the dark. And in the daylight, like I said earlier in the call, it all goes away, right? In the light, it's just light, all the darkness goes away. But at night, in the darkness reappears. So usually if you've done any energy clearings or entity clearings, they reappear at night because it's dark. They think you're scared at some level, and they're going to reconnect and replug back in. So when you go to bed tonight, don't think about some of the things that we talked about in the call today. I guess it's not a call. I'm just used to being on calls. And I want you instead to just focus on bringing in the white light. I am peace. I am safe. I am whole. All is well. But if you are doing that and you do feel darkness or you do see darkness, then that is your sign that you have letting go to do of either an energy or an entity. And when you can't bring the white light in and you're seeing that in the dark, just make sure you just pull it out like a weed, you let it go, and you just bring the white light through that space. All right, everyone. Oh, I think it just stopped raining. That's very exciting for my puppy. All right, you guys all have a great night. If you have any questions or comments, please post them below and I will get back to you. Sweet dreams.